Good morning.
I was waving at you with a switched off camera. I think you couldn't see me. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's hot here today.
Same here. I actually had my one-on-one with Marin, and I keep pushing my fan here on the side, and my son unplugged it yesterday, so it was kind of why nothing is coming out of this.
Oh, bad luck. We're due thunderstorms tonight, so today's going to be the absolute worst day, like right before it all breaks. So it's a bit hot. It's like a bit unusual in June though. Like, I mean, like last year it got hotter than this, but in sort of like late July. But wow, I hope this isn't gonna stick about for the whole summer. Awesome. So let's begin. So MTTP. I was a little surprised by this. Like, did we have lots of incidents towards the end of last week that's keeping the MTTP number so close to the target?
Are those numbers really from last week or the week before? I always make confusion around this, right?
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, they should have updated.
There was a
Friday.
moment where things were good, but it didn't last so long.
Yeah, they should have updated on Friday. Take a closer look. Awesome. So first discussion item, Henri.
Yeah, I put this here, and maybe it's more fitting to the Kubernetes demo meeting, but I want to talk about this anyway, because I was working on metrics and observability for Kubernetes to improve what we can see there. And one thing I noticed is that we are missing some metrics that we had before when we still were running the VM fleet, especially CPU saturation, because in Kubernetes, we can't easily measure this, because normally we measure this against a node, but in Kubernetes, we can only measure this against a container, right? But there are several ways to measure CPU saturation in a container. The way we used it until now is measuring it against limits. Like if you set a limit, then we can't get higher on usage on a container. But usually we don't set limits for CPU in a lot of our deployments. So we have no saturation metrics for CPU in these cases. The other way to do this is to measure saturation against the requests, right? So we try to reserve CPU requests for each deployment. So we are sure that we have reserved enough space for each container in Kubernetes, because Kubernetes is using the CPU reservations as a measure of how many pods fit on a node. And working on the saturation metric and looking into it, I noticed that in a lot of our deployments, we didn't set it up right. Like in a way that we often use more CPU than we requested, that we often set the CPU average target to a value higher than our requests, which doesn't make sense, so that we try to use more all the time than we requested. And this also has the problem that if we implement this alert or this metrics, we will get alerts all the time for these metrics. And so I made a list of things and services that should be fixed, and especially Sidekick is full of needs to be fixed there. And the same is true for a lot of the memory requests. And the thing is here, this is blocking the observability work, because Andrew was of the opinion that you maybe should first fix this and then implement the observability item, because else you would start alerting. But this is a lot of work and will take some time. The other way would be to make a list of what needs to be fixed, which I did more or less now. And anyway, start implementing the monitoring and saturation metrics, and just silence the alerts in the places where we are over saturation and know about it. Then we can later work on this and then do it. So 2 ways to do it. I'm not really decided on which way we should go. We need to fix it anyway. This will take some time.
We can't silence indefinitely, can we? Do we silence for a period of time and then
we can just silence it for 10 years or something, or we just silence it for as long as we think should be good, and then we suddenly get alerts again and are reminded, okay.
I'd rather, like, I think we should plan to fix it. Could you open individual issues for each one, and then we could tie it together? So it'd be like, make this change and then enable this alert, make this change and enable this alert, so we can actually step through it.
It's not working like this, because if I enable the saturation matrix, it will be enabled for all the services and deployments. So we can just then start setting silences in Prometheus for the single affected services, which is easy to do. And we would also get a notification in the related issue, because Andrew has this helicopter automation. He called it helicopter. It's just looking regularly, like every hour, into our silences, and each silence needs to be linked to an alert, to an issue, and then it will just put a note in the issue. Okay, there's a silence for this issue still. So this is the way to kind of track silences to
it. It might be a good one for chatting about in the demo. I think I kind of agree with Andrew that we should just fix this if we have to fix it anyway. But it probably means that we want to review the observability epic and just check in on where we are there.
Yeah, I mean, I can continue on the other observability metrics there. Just for CPU and memory saturation, we are kind of blocked there. Or
okay, yeah, let's do that then. Let's fix this for these. But yeah, let's get a. I'll have to read through the issues before the demo. But let's.
It's also good to have Skarbek and maybe Jav chime in on this, because they have more history on why we set up the requests like they are right now.
Exactly, yeah. But I don't like silencing knowing we're just planning to create kind of noise there.
Yeah,
so.
It's not nice for sure, yeah.
Cool. Cool. And then on the environment one, I just wanted to make sure we were kind of all knew what was going on there. So as I understand it, we won't be able to deploy the RC, the 14.0 RC to anything that's running Ubuntu 16.04, that's end of life, or on PG11, because that is currently also end of life. There is an issue discussing that, but I haven't caught up with what options we're taking up. But as it stands right now, that will fail. So pre and ops are currently not going to get a clean deploy.
Pre is not working? I thought
pre has not been upgraded.
Oh, I thought we upgraded pre.
No, PG12 has, but not
Ubuntu. Oh,
so it's in progress, but it hasn't been done.
So what is the plan then for them? Like,
they are working on getting them done, I believe. I'm not sure.
So the plan is upgrade, essentially, not build packages for 1604 or anything like that.
No.
So we were also discussing on anticipating RC42 as today, but I don't think we can, because it will fail to install. So
exactly,
we need to bump priority on the thing, because it's something I want to discuss in the next item, but we may decide to create RC42 today. So we need this to be compatible with 40.0. Regarding ops, given that I'm speaking, regarding ops is no longer a problem, because yesterday we failed the upgrade. We had a maintenance window in the morning to shut down ops to run the PG upgrade. It failed. So I just asked kindly to postpone this after the release, because we can't waste time. Because during that deployment, we had no auto deploy, no ability to deploy. We were kind of blocked on everything. So it was agreed. So June 23rd is the target date. So this is not a problem, but pre is a problem.
Yeah, okay. So I think on the pre one, I'll follow up where we are with that. If the ops one is pushed out, then I hope that we'll get back onto pre. So they prioritize ops over pre. If you want to go ahead, I assume that you want to like test the tagging for the RC. If you want to go ahead and do that, go for it. Like, just know that the deploy to pre will fail. So we won't be able to run the QA until this is done. But I'll follow up on those things today. Ops will break though, right? So is it intended that ops will break overnight on the 22nd? Because it will get the auto.
I don't think we deploy automatically on ops. I mean, I don't know how we deploy.
We do.
We
No,
we
that's-
we
Do
have
it overnight, right?
yeah. I get alerts about this every day, so I'm very familiar. We have a cron job on ops that does a package bump every day.
Okay,
And it
can,
will
can
probably
we
break
disable
this.
this? Can we disable this?
Easily
around-
enough to disable. Yeah, like it's
Okay.
just comment it out or do a chef disable or whatever. It's not a big deal.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
let's make sure we do this because it breaks badly, because first replace binaries on disk and then it fails. So we will end up with broken Git.
Oh, right.
I
So
mean,
we
last time
really take ops down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I
okay.
mean,
We
it
need
really
to-
depends, right? Because we had several failure mode during the first week, but some of them were after replacing binaries on disk. So then if you restart something, you kind of end up in a mixed state and nothing works. So better.
do we need to do that like today?
No, I mean, we are going to release on the 22nd. So the package will be
Okay.
public on the 22nd. So
Alright,
in time
well-
before the 22nd, anytime.
I'm just going to check which repo the ops is pulling from, because I'm not sure if it's a pre-release one or.
Do we take the nightlies there? I hope not, right?
No, I don't. No, that's dev. Takes.
I
night.
think from reading the ops DB upgrade thing, which failed, it sounded like they wanted to do it directly after the 14.0 upgrade.
This
right?
was my
But
request after.
Yeah.
makes sense.
So it will fail, I believe, based on when we were waiting for the bridge job fix to come through. It will auto upgrade on the night of the 22nd once we publish the new package.
So it also has, so it's got two Ubuntu package repositories, GitLab EE and GitLab Unstable, packages.gitlab.com/gitlab/unstable. So I don't know what that is or when packages go into that.
That's a good point. Yeah. So the RC, when we tag the RC, I think maybe it goes into unstable. But it shouldn't use it. Like from when we saw the, I think they're just available there.
Yeah, but the problem is the cron job will just do an apt update. And if the repo's on the box and it's a newer version number, it will try and install it.
I see.
I think
Okay, fine. Okay. Let me catch up on that issue then, Alessio, before you do the RC tag. Let's get pre and ops into a known state for that. So. Nice. And then just so that we all kind of also know what's happening, so there's quite a few things going on with pre at the moment. So so it sounds like maybe from today, possibly. So yeah, so just wanted to give heads up, like Graeme and I were chatting earlier about web fleet migration changes will be going on to pre, like after the 22nd. And then one for you, Graeme, just to be aware of that registry is set up on pre in its special case as well.
Yeah, and I've been noticing QA tests and pre have been failing with the registry test every single time. I'm not sure if that's an issue or
not one that we want to concern ourselves with. They are implementing new tests, so it's probably not unusual. Like so, registry on pre is in a special state. I think you can more or less just ignore it. But just as you put stuff onto pre, just be aware of that. Cool. And then, Alessio, do you want to wait until the actual 22nd before Graeme does anything with the web migration? On pre, I mean.
On pre, I mean, I don't know. I mean, pre gets the RCs, right? So we install RCs on pre. So
yeah,
if we can have it in a working state and not touching it, it would be better. Because basically the idea is that we want to tag earlier and maybe pick fixes. And so doing more RCs,
I see,
but removing extra changes from the release, because it's going to be, has been a bumpy set of weeks, not just a weekend.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Yeah. Okay. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
Graeme?
Yeah, that's fine. Getting it to a point where something will be in pre before the 22nd is probably optimistic on my part anyway. So that's fine. And I assume even once pre is, there's two parts to me personally. So there's obviously like the upgrades themselves going well and things rolling out. And then it's like, if we start testing stuff in pre, not that we're really doing heavily testing, but it's, what am I trying to say? How do I figure out what is broken because it's web migrated to Kubernetes versus it's broken because this is a 14.0 bug? And that becomes a bit trickier. I don't even have an answer for that. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter, because as long as GitLab.com GitLab.com is production's going to be the main place people will notice things broken. So if I'm only doing stuff in pre, then and something breaks, we should be confident it's more likely the Kubernetes migration, because if it's not broken in production, then I guess maybe that's the heuristic we use.
Yeah, consider that production will start being really ahead of time compared to pre. So I'm looking at the schedule. So in theory, we will tag 14.0.0 Monday 21st, which means that pre will be in active usage from, let's say, today, if we tag today ERC42 up until the 21st. Because if we need to pick something, if we need to add some breaking change that missed the deadline or things like that, we are going to cat a new ERC, or if we spot some big problem. Once we have 14.0.0, this will go up on the release instance, which is it upgraded to PG? Okay, this one. That's fine.
I did that. Yeah, I made sure it's done.
Okay, thank you. So by that point, so 21st, we no longer care about pre.
Okay. Yeah, those dates line up well then. I think with my work, it'll just come in behind it. And yeah, breakages for 14.0. Yeah, as you said, production will be ahead and we'll deal with those breakages there.
Yeah.
Anything I'll be confident anything I break is more likely to what I'm doing.
That's it. You'll be able to trust the QA tests at that point, because they'll have already passed enable for us to deploy 14.0. So they'll be a good one as well. Awesome. So yeah, just kind of to wrap up again on your point there, Alessio, like, yeah, if pre is not running on PG12, it will fail. I'll sort that out today so that we can move ahead with tagging. Cool.
But it's running on PG12 already, right?
But it's not on an Ubuntu.
Yeah, not on Ubuntu.
So yeah, it will fail. Yeah. Cool. So Alessio.
Okay. So I draft kind of a communication plan. I mean, I just quickly wrote it before joining the call. The idea here is that, especially if we want to tag earlier, we want to be informed if there are breaking changes that are not yet on GitLab.com. So because one option here is that we do ERC today's, and then we pick missing breaking changes, or at least we need to be aware, because these are something that either products or us or someone have to deal with. So, and there was kind of confusion around already happening, like every milestone, things being re-milestone labeled, and things, 15 has gone, so we have lost the window for 14.0, which is not entirely true. So in this complete mess of people not being aware, I want to be sure that at least breaking changes are all in, or we have a plan.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like a good idea.
So yeah, if we can review this, and then we can broadcast later today, so that we just to reach the wider audience possible.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds great. Yeah, I'll take a look over your comment and just might just tweak a word or two. But yeah, great idea. Let's do that.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Great. Is there anything else to bring up on the recording?
So sorry, who is going to create the issue or flag up we need to stop ops? Like, because it sounds like we need to do that ASAP.
I'll follow up on that, because there's already an issue. I'll find out who's actually working on ops and what the plan is on that. So yeah, if it's probably be us who does the actual task, but I'll follow up on that one. And
yeah, it just sounds like it really needs to be done, because we really don't want to try and recover that machine. Yeah, I assume it's backed up, but I have no
let's not test
idea.
That yeah. yeah, I'll follow up on all of that stuff this morning. And
I'll make a note tomorrow morning my time, which will be the next time it upgrades. So it upgrades during the middle of my day. I'll make a note to come in the morning and check. I should be able to determine that it's not doing that. And if I still see it going to upgrade tomorrow, I will step in and stop it.
Okay, that sounds great. All right.
Even just as a like a break fit, as a break.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That sounds like a good plan. All right. Awesome.